the largest possible power you can find for y as a common part is just 1. So in the GCF, this y is also degree 1. Just in case, if, for example, in those 4 terms, if we have like the degree of y are 3, 2, 3, 2, in that case, the y in the GCF should be 2, because degree of 3 contains degree of 2. 3 is larger than 2. And the common part is, you can consider it as like the overlapping part of the y to the largest possible factor, power. So more or less, the GCF, the term in the GCF, the degree of the term in the GCF is exactly equals to the smallest degree among all the terms. Here we have all the y with degree 1, so in the GCF, the smallest possible y is just degree 1. That's it. That's the first step. We found the GCF, which is 3 times y. Oops. So, okay, let me put the GCF aside. So the first part, what we have is the GCF equals to 3y, then let's factor it out. So now we have the step 1. Step 1. Factor GCF. We already found the GCF equals to 3 times y from here. So what we need to do is we factor it out. Factor it out means you just check in each terms what is the, let me copy the question. Oops. Here we go. So in each term, we just write it as a product of 2 parts. One part is the GCF, which is 3 times y. So the first one is 3 times y times x cubed. Then plus the second one is 6 is 2 times 3, so it's 3 times y. What left is from the 6, you factor 3, you have a 2, and from x, you have x squared. So 6 separated into 3 and 2. Then y goes first in the green part, which is the GCF, x squared left there. So minus the next one, we have 3y is our GCF. What left there is the x. And the last one, we have 6y. So if we factor out the 3y, what we have is times 2. Oops, 2 should be in red. That's the first step. For each, after we found the GCF, for each term, we write it as the GCF multiplied with the left part. And now, we can factor out the GCF by rewrite this polynomial in a different form. First, we have a common part in each, which is this 3 times y. Oops. And then, for each term, what we left here. In the first one, we have x cubed, then it's plus. The second one, we have 2x squared, and we have minus. The next one, we have x, then minus. The last one, we have 2. That's it. We write it as the product of the GCF 3y, the green part, times the terms left in the left part from each term. So we have 3 times y times x cubed plus 2x squared minus x, and then minus 2. So that's the step 1. So now, first we write the polynomial as a product of 2 parts. The first part is a green one, which is the GCF 3y. The second part is a long polynomial. This is our step 1, and now we can work on step 2. Step 2 starts to counting how many terms. So now this 3y is simple. So it's already a good part. We cannot simplify it anymore. But in the, oh, actually it's green. Why is blue? Now, okay. Now, but the inside part, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still a 4-term polynomial, which means, back to our strategy, what we have, like step 2, depending on the number of terms, we have 3 cases, 2 terms or 4 terms or 3 terms or 4 terms. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we use the strategy for 4 terms, which is we factoring by group. Factoring by group means we are going to rewrite the inside part. Okay, so because we already finished the step 1, let's just make it smaller and move it over. The top, and then let's move the step 2 a little, oops, higher. Okay. Now let's go on. We have the GCF part, the green part, not changed at all, but the inside part, we have 4 terms. So the strategy for 4-term polynomial is by group. By group means inside we have 4 terms, we regroup them as 2, 2. The first group is the first term and the second one. Then we plus, oh, it should be blue. Yeah. The second group, be careful because here we have negative x, minus x, so it should be negative x, negative 2. So we regroup the 4 terms as 2, 2. So now we can go on. What we're going to do is we leave the outside part there. and write the inside part as, in the first group, these two. We can factor it again by, again, consider the greatest common factor. In these two, the x cubed is x cubed. Here is 2 times x squared. So among these two, actually, let me move this lower. Oops. Let me copy this first. Okay, great. So here, this one is x cubed. This one is 2 times x squared. So among these two, GCF equals to 2, 1, so no number part. X part, we have x squared, x cubed, so it's x squared. Degree 3, degree 2, so the GCF is degree 2. 2 is smaller than 3. We pick the smallest degree among them. And here in the second one, we have this is negative x is negative 1 times x, and this one is negative 2. So we factor out the GCF. Because of that, when we have a negative leading term, we factor it out as a negative 1. So in the first one, we have the GCF is x squared. So what we have is x squared times x. X cubed became x squared times x. And this 2x cubed x squared became also the GCF x squared times 2 is plus. Our first group became this one. And the second one is plus this negative 1x, because the GCF is negative 1, so we write it as x times negative 1 times x. Then the negative 2 is also factor out the GCF. We got is negative 1 times 2. Connected by plus. So now, outside is still 3 times y, but inside part we have, in the first small group, we have the common factor which is x squared. So it can be written as x squared times x plus 2 and then plus. The second part, we have the common factor, which is negative 1, so plus negative 1 times x plus 2. So that's it. After we regroup them, we factor out the GCF from each small groups, and now we have this. 3y times x squared times x plus 2, then plus negative 1 times x plus 2. So far, that's our step 2 and one last. To finish step 2, we need, oops. Oh, I didn't select all of them.